Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. And I feel with this last round of statements, we've reached some enlightenment here. Mr. Moore stated that he was not opposed in any way to ESG investing or ESG companies. He invited his fellow panelists to disagree with him, and they appeared to assent to it. He said he's only opposed to affirmatively forcing people to invest in ESG, but of course, that doesn't happen anywhere. The Department of Labor rule, which I think is the target of their attack, does not impose a mandate on anybody, but permits fiduciaries to consider responsible investing factors if such factors are shown to be prudent and consistent with fiduciary principles. So the department's rule just represents a return to neutrality, precisely what the anti-ESG people don't want in the states. They want to try to exclude ESG companies from consideration. Representative McClain said at the beginning that, well, if investors and asset managers are going to be able to consider environmental and social and governance factors, they might, a company could decide to just make its decisions based on abortion. Well, what do you know? This is America, and we've got economic freedom, and you go online and you can find the Catholic investment portfolio, which excludes abortion. You can find the Timothy plan, which excludes abortion. You can find Ave Maria mutual funds. That's the marketplace. So if you think that your asset manager is violating your rights somehow, you obviously have the right to exit. You have the right to have some kind of shareholder or proxy election about it. Or you can sue them. You can bring derivative shareholder litigation. Are there examples of any lawsuit where shareholders have said, you pulled the wool over our eyes and you decided to take into account more data about environmental and social governance factors than we want you to consider? Does anybody have any cognizance of any lawsuit like that where someone has won? I mean, so I am with my colleagues who are just baffled that we're having not one, but two hearings, and I hope we're not going to have a third hearing. And then we'll have no Republicans show up at all, because I think they've absolutely abandoned the field here, because they're going up against market freedom, consumer sovereignty, environmentally conscious and socially conscious decision-making that people want, and where the market is taking us. That's where we are right now. Well, in 2022, Morningstar surveyed 500 global asset owners controlling $32 trillion. And they found that 85% of those 500 see ESG factors as material or even essential to prudent financial investment policy. And that makes perfect sense, because it's been shown that investments that consider ESG data offer greater long-term resilience and lower risk than investments that don't. I mean, if someone came to you in 2016 or 17 and said, I've got a great pharma investment for you with this great company called Purdue. It's producing 30%, 40%, 70%, 80% returns in the last couple of quarters. Would you want to know that their business model was getting people addicted to drugs? It's not just that it's socially pernicious. Maybe you don't care about that. You say all you care about is the financial bottom line. But if you care about your financial bottom line, you're going to want to know if that company is going to go bankrupt because of its socially predatory practices. Same thing with, take the Massey Energy Company in West Virginia. Someone said to you, invest in Massey Energy. They're getting staggering profits in 2007, 2008, before the Upper Big Branch mine disaster, which took the lives of 29 workers. And someone said, well, why don't you consider the fact that they've got hundreds of mine safety violations and OSHA violations? And then someone says, well, no, you can't do that. You can't take into account the social factors or the environmental factors. Just look at the bottom line. That would be a ridiculous way to invest. But that's precisely what we're being invited to endorse today. Look only at the money and not include the ESG factors, which are just data. More data for the investment managers to figure out whether it's a good investment or a bad investment. So these ham-fisted efforts of the carbon kings are projected to dramatically raise costs for state and local governments by tens or hundreds of millions of dollars annually. I don't know if I've got the, if you could just take a look at this. A Sunrise Project study estimated the cost for 6 southern states if they pass legislation limiting responsible investing. These bills would pull state funds from investment managers if officials deem their investment strategies are adverse to certain industries, most prominently, of course, fossil fuels and the firearm industry, which are the ones that have gotten this whole anti-ESG crusade going. I ask unanimous consent to submit this analysis to the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection, so moved.
Thank you very much, and I yield back.